Howdy everyone, it's Sam. Welcome to the Wobble Enjoy Sports channel. If you're new around here, hope I can get you to consider liking the content and subscribing to the channel. But if you are a regular around these here parts, thank you very much for the continuous support. Again, I just need to say, up you friggin' tillies, up you freaking tillies. Also, the round 25, this upcoming round starts with Cowboys versus Sharks. You want to hear my thoughts on it? Tune in to a live match preview tonight with the Rugby League Outlaws, myself, and Cowboy Kate, or catch the replay. I'll leave a link in the description or in the comments section below for Cowboys versus Sharks, the match preview, a ride in the river, a very special ride in the river episode. So without further ado, let's get into round 25. And this video is going to pretty much start with Friday night footy. So there you go. Let's get into it. Friday night football for round 25 sees two games, and game number one is from a specially named Mount Smart Stadium this weekend. It will be known as Daniel Anderson Stadium. It's a special night where they're going to raise funds for Daniel Anderson, who suffered a terrible accident, or is still suffering from that terrible accident today, which happened to him during the off-season. It is the New Zealand Warriors versus the Manly Warringah Seagulls, and on tab.com.au, the Warriors are $1.24 favourites. Manly are $4, and as I'm about to go into, $4 about Manly against the New Zealand Warriors is actually pretty damn good value, considering the overall head-to-head record goes 27-12 in favour of Manly. This will be the 40th edition of the Warriors versus Sea Eagles, and since 2020, the Warriors have lost 3 in a row against the Manly Sea Eagles. This is the first trip to Mount Smart for the Sea Eagles since 2019, and their last victory came at Mount Smart Stadium in 2017. But again, the overall head-to-head record is huge for the Sea Eagles. They don't fear playing at Mount Smart Stadium. Yeah, they are probably, I would tend to suggest, besides the Storm, I'd say the Sea Eagles are the bogey side for the New Zealand Warriors. Let's get into the team list. Chance Nickel-Klukstart returns at fullback after having a week off from concussion. Then it goes DWZ, Berry, Pompey, Montoya, Metcalf, and Johnson. Wade Egan has been named at hooker, even though he went to hospital with a throat injury. And the starting forward pack is, of course, AFB and Bunty Afoa. The back row is Ford, Nyakure, and Harris. The back row, the interchange is Walker, Tavanga, Sirinen, and Josh Curran. Going into the team list for the Manly Warringah Seagulls, we've got Garrick, Saab, Kohler, Harper, Viaga, Schuster, and Daly Cherry Evans. And then Sipley, Croker, and Kepi are the starting front row. And then Olakawatu, Tuolangi, and Trebojevic are the back row. And the interchange is Arthur, Mattison, Woods, and Bullymore. And just for a couple of Manly Seagulls fanatics out there, Gordon Chan Kum Tong has been named as 18th player, so he's getting closer to he's getting closer to getting into the 1-17. Massive opportunity for the Seagulls here to cause a boil over. They nearly did it against the Penrith Panthers, and I gave them, honestly, no chance of doing it. The Warriors, I feel like they're experiencing what the Cowboys experienced this time last year. This is about the time where the Cowboys just started to dip a little bit in intensity, focus on application, but the Warriors are still getting the job done. They're winning ugly, which is always, or can be, a very good thing. I'm going to tip the Warriors here, but not by 13 plus. 1-12. I think this will be extremely close. Manly are the bogey side, or one of the bogey sides for the Warriors, and I just don't think they'll have enough to get over a well-coached New Zealand Warriors outfit. So Warriors 1-12 for me. And the second game on Friday night is from CommBank Stadium. The Eels host the Roosters. On tab.com.au, the Eels are coming into the game as outsiders. $2.25. The Roosters are $1.62 favourites. I thought maybe the margin would be a little bit closer. This will be the 139th edition between these two sides, and the record stands at 69-64, with 5 draws thrown in there, all leading the way of the Sydney Roosters. Since 2017, the leader at halftime in these matches, in the past 9 matches since 2017, the leader at halftime has gone on to win this. So being up at halftime this Friday night is going to be massive. Sydney Roosters, this is their first trip to CommBank Stadium this season. This is their 9th match at the venue, and they have a commanding record at 6 wins and 2 losses. East's last defeated the Parramatta Eels at CommBank in 2020. So they have what, by and large, 80% success rate when they travel to CommBank Stadium, do the Sydney Roosters. But this is going to be a little bit tricky for the Roosters, I reckon, because of a couple of inclusions in the team list. So starting with the home side, the Parramatta Eels, Gutherson, Mike Acevo returns from suspension. Penasini, Simonson, and Russell round out the backline, and Dejan Arce and Dylan Brown are the halves combination. Arce the 5'8", Brown to be the halfback, but we'll see if that might not swap and change throughout the night on Friday night. Regan Campbell-Gillard also returns from suspension. Lussick, Polo, Hopgood, Cartwright, and Offahengawi are the forward pack, the starting forward pack, and the interchanges Moretti, Madison, Grieg, and Brendan Hands. Going into the Sydney Roosters now, Tedesco, Tupou, Smith, Manu, Suali'i, Luke Keary, and Drew Hutchison, the halfback. The forward pack is Waria Hargreaves, Smith, Collins, Wong, Nat Butcher, and Victor Radley. And then the interchange reads Smith, Baker, Terrell May, and Angus Crichton, jersey 17 on his back. And Sam Walker has been named with jersey 18 on his back as well. So possibly there could be a late inclusion of Sam Walker. Maybe, maybe not. We'll see what happens. This is pretty much do or die for both of these sides. I think the loser of this game can pretty much start booking their trips to Bali. Parramatta were in the contest for the first half last week, and then just all fell to hell in a handbasket. And the Roosters, they won, what was the final scoreline? 34-12 or something like that. But they were down at halftime against the Dolphins, 8-6. And if it wasn't for a sin bin, or a contentious sin bin, maybe we might be looking at a different scoreline or a completely different result. So the Roosters weren't terribly convincing in a 13-plus points victory over the Dolphins last weekend. Dunno. I give the Eels a sniff here. I know Mitchell Moses being out for the rest of the season with a facial fracture is a detrimental blow, but I don't know, man. Campbell-Gillard, Sevo back in. They still are a better team at scoring points. The Roosters are still down in third last position for overall points scored in 2023. I think it'll be 1-12, but I just think we can't always get nice things, and I'm going to tip the Sydney Roosters to win this game 1-12. Super Saturday has 3 games, and game number 1, again for the second time this round, is from CommBank Stadium. The West Tigers host the Dolphins. The Tigers are $1.38 favourites. The Dolphins are $3 outsiders, and this is the first ever meeting between the Tigers and the Dolphins at CommBank Stadium. This is the first ever trip to CommBank for the Dolphins. For the West Tigers, they have a 7-win and 16-loss record at the venue. They did lose earlier this year to the Cronulla Sutherland Sharks, albeit in a pretty honourable effort, in an honourable loss, but they don't count for nothing. They're still on the bottom of the ladder, and meanwhile, the Dolphins, oh man, just this second half of the season, I think a lot of people thought that the adrenaline would help them probably gain a lot more victories in the first half to the second half of their season, and that's exactly what's happened. All the adrenaline has gone off, and all the players have gone freaking missing by the looks of the team list. So going in to the Tigers team list news, it looks like that they are unchanged from last weekend's effort against the New Zealand Warriors across the ditch. So they have remained unchanged. But for the Dolphins, let's go. Nikorima at fullback, Azarko, Jack Bostock, Robert Jennings, Tessie New, Katoa, and O'Sullivan is the back line. The forward pack, Jesse Bromwich, Harrison Graham, Herman Sasa is the starting forward pack, Felicia Kofusi, Ewan Aitken in the second row, and Mark Nichols rounds out the back row in the lock position. And the interchange reads JJ Collins, Josh Kerr, Anthony Milford, and Jared Wallace to round out the interchange bench. So there's been a broken toe for Ray Stone. Hammer has copped a HIA. So too has Connolly Lemuelu. We've got Kenny Bromwich missing as well, I believe, for the same thing, for a concussion as well. So they have been battered pillar to post, unfortunately. And I think the time is nigh. You always try to look for upset wins or just one final win before the season finishes for some of those lower ranked sides. And that's why I tipped the Bulldogs last weekend, you bastards. But now I think the time is nigh. I'm going to tip the West Tigers to win this game 1-12 against the Dolphins. The second game on Super Saturday emanates from Seabus Super Stadium. The Titans host the Panthers. Titans are $7.50 and the Panthers are $1.08. This will be the 24th meeting between the two, and the Panthers have a 16-7 overall head-to-head record, and they have won 4 in a row against the Titans since 2019. The last time the Titans defeated Penrith was in 2019, and that was on the Gold Coast. But overall, to demonstrate how much authority the Panthers have over the Gold Coast, since 2016, the Panthers have won 8 of 9 matches between the Titans and the Panthers. So it is definitely one-way traffic for the Panthers in this contest. A lot of team changes here for the Gold Coast Titans. At fullback is Kinney, Cam Pereira, and Sami are the wingers. Brian Kelly and Aaron Schopp are the centres. Jaden Campbell and Tom Weaver are the halves pairing. So Foran, AJ Brimson, they're out with injury again, unfortunately. The forward pack, Fodawaker returns from a 1-game suspension. Jolliffe and Randall are the other 2 starting front rowers. And then David Fafita, Khaleesi Haas, and Tino Fa'asuamaleaui moves back to the lock position. I like him at lock, I do. And then the interchange reads Leeming, Liu, Stimson, and Jacob Arlick returns. But it should be noted that AJ Brimson has been named with jersey 19 on his back. And then shifting into the Penrith Panthers now, Tyrone Peachy is in at centre, so Isaac Tungo is still a week or 2 away as he's recovering from an injury. Jerome Luai, though, returns into the 5/8 position, partnering Nathan Cleary after he was unwell last weekend. The forward pack for the Panthers reads Leota, Kenny Harris, Fisher Harris, and then Sorensen, Martin, and Yo. And then the interchange reads Luke, Smith, Eisenhuth, and Jamin Salmon, with Zach Hosking demoted to jersey number 20. Penrith Panthers 13+. And the final game of Super Saturday is from WIN Stadium in Wollongong. The Dragons host the Storm. The Dragons are $5. The Storm are $1.16. This is the 41st meeting between the two sides, and the Storm have a commanding record over the Dragons at 28 wins, 11 losses, and 1 draw to be thrown in there as well. The Storm have won 4 of 6 matches between the Dragons since 2018, and they're on a two-match winning streak against St. George Illawarra. And on both of those occasions, in the past 2 games in a row, they have been able to score 40+ points on the Dragons. The Melbourne Storm last played in Wollongong in 2019, but their last loss at WIN Stadium came in 2016. So they're not doing too badly at WIN Stadium. It is the 12th visit to the venue for the Storm, and they have a 5-win, 5-loss, 1 draw record since first playing at WIN Stadium in the year 2000. Going into the team list for the St. George Illawarra Dragons, it looks like Sloan, Fangai, Sully, Lomax returns, Ravalawa, Amone, and Hunt. The forward pack is Francis Molo, Little, Lowry, Burns, Russell, and Michael Molo is the lock. and then Mulheisen, Ryan Couchman, Murdoch Masilla, and Zane Musgrove round out the interchange bench. And then shifting over to the Melbourne Storm, their backline is unchanged from last week's thumping victory over the Canberra Raiders. The forward pack, Kamikamika, Grant and Welch, Liero, Katoa, and Josh King. Interchanges Garlic, Eisenhuth, Tepai Maroa, and Nelson Asafa Solomona. And then Tarek Sims has also been named on the reserves list. Melbourne Storm 13 plus. Getting into Sunday football, there are two games, and game number one on the Sunday is arguably the game of the round. This is a huge matchup. The Newcastle Knights host the South Sydney Rabbitohs on tab. The Knights are outsiders at $2.10. The Rabbitohs are $1.70. This is the 47th meeting between the Knights and the Rabbitohs, and the Newcastle Knights still have the overall head-to-head record at 27 victories and 19 losses to the South Sydney Rabbitohs. But since I guess the turn of the 2010s, South Sydney have dominated this fixture big time. The Newcastle Knights last defeated South Sydney on their home soil way back in 2011. And since that victory in 2011, unfortunately, the Newcastle Knights have gone on to lose 12 of the next 14 matches since 2011 to 2023. Coming into this match this Sunday. Their last victory against South Sydney came in 2020, and since then they've gone on a 3-game losing streak against the South Sydney Rabbitohs. So far as team lists go, there's not too much change. Bradman Best does come back in for a straight swap with Anari Tawala, so Best is back. Jackson Hastings has been named, and it's a difficult situation. Like, do you trust that Adam Clune comes in to do the job, or do you leave Jackson Hastings in there, but potentially make his injury scare even worse? So it's a 50-50 catch-22 sort of thing with Jackson Hastings, but yeah, they just need their best team on the paddock, don't they? And then for the South Sydney Rabbitohs, there's only one change, and that's Michael Cheekham comes in for Ben Lovett. This is a really difficult game to tip. It's going to be a fascinating viewing. Obviously, of course, there's only 3 rounds left, and these two sides sit in seventh and eighth, respectively, or sixth and eighth, respectively. This is absolutely enormous. Since I've started doing YouTube back in 2021, I'm telling you that maybe besides my own team, these two sides in the Knights and the Rabbitohs are the two clubs I just have the hardest time reading. Since I've started doing YouTube, these two sides I cannot wrangle in, so I don't know who to tip here. I truly don't. I feel like the Knights, the Knights are coming into the game with better form, but it's just, that it takes one moment, it takes one game for the South Sydney Rabbitohs to flick that switch, and they're going to go on a huge rampage. But they are running out of time, and they were really flat, really flat up in Cairns last weekend, and they finally are back in New South Wales, but it's still a trip to the Hunter Valley for them. So I think the Knights have enough points in them, and I think they might have the better defense. This is a true flip of the coin. Newcastle Knights to win this game 1-12. And the final game of round 25 finishes with, boy howdy, what could be the poo slinger to end all poo slingers. The Canberra Raiders host the Canterbury Bankstown Bulldogs, and on tab, the Raiders are favourites at $1.34. The Bulldogs are $3.20. Bulldogs. God damn it, Bulldogs. You were good for 5 minutes, and I thought I was going to be Nostradamus. I thought, the upset tip is on here, and nah. It all went to shit, honestly. God damn it, Bulldogs. And then Canberra Raiders on the same day were not much better, possibly even worse than the Bulldogs' performance on Sunday. This will be the 73rd meeting between the Raiders and the Bulldogs, and it's the Bulldogs who have the overall head-to-head record at 37 wins to 35 wins for the Canberra Raiders. However, the Raiders have dominated this fixture for a long time now. They have won 7 in a row versus the Canterbury Bankstown Bulldogs, and the last time the Bulldogs defeated the Raiders in Canberra was in 2015. And just on team list news, Jared Croker announcing his retirement 24, 48 hours ago. This could give the Canberra Raiders another lift, another surge, and potentially a chance to have Jared Croker play one last finals match as well come September. We'll see what happens there. So let's go into the team list for the Canberra Raiders to start off with. And that man, Jared Croker, has been named in the centres. So that's fantastic. Matt Timoko, Kotrick, White and Fogarty. And then the forward pack is per the program. And the interchange is Starling, Gula, James Schiller in jersey 16, and Atta Mariotta. And I think that's a good call to inject James Schiller, just a little bit more X factor because, yeah, the attack of the Canberra Raiders, and particularly over the past 6 weeks or so, not crash hot at all. Speaking of not crash hot, the Canterbury Bankstown Bulldogs team list, starting at fullback is Avarillo. 1 to 7 is per the program. Forward pack, we see Max King, Marnie, and Liam Knight. Kickow, Waddell, and Sutton, the back row. Kyle Flanagan, Luke Thompson, Raymond Fatala-Mariner, and then Tavita Pengai Jr. They are the interchange bench there. And before I came on, I apologize if this isn't the case, but I swear I saw a tweet that I saw fleetingly and said that Tavita Pengai Jr. is considering or has announced that he is going to retire at season's end to pursue a career in boxing. If that's a mock tweet, if that's a joke, I apologize, but I just saw that like fleetingly before I started shooting. And if that's the case, best of luck to Tavita Pengai Jr. Look, the Raiders, they lost 48 points to 2 in Melbourne against the Storm, and I think that they are the better team, but would it surprise me if the Dogs upset the Raiders? I'm telling you, there's a Bulldogs victory coming before season's end as well. But yeah, this is not going to be a high quality game of footy. Might be thrilling with 5 minutes to go, but it's not going to be good. I'm going to trust that the Canberra Raiders can win this game. Not 13 plus. It will be another close game, unfortunately, for Raiders fans. And yeah, I'm going to go the Canberra Raiders to win this game 1 to 12 and bounce back and win. Yo, that's it for me. Thank you very much for checking me out again. If you're new around here, hope I can get you to consider liking the content and subscribing to the channel. And I'll see you guys in the next episode next week, or I'll check you out on the NRLW Tips show, or I'll check you out on the live preview with Rugby League Outlaws and Cowboy Kate a little bit later on tonight, or you can catch the replay of that stream. Thank you very much again for the continuous support. I'll see you guys soon. Take care. Adios.